If you're a remodeler struggling with getting leads, or frankly, if the leads that are coming in suck, I want to give you my entire system for free. My name is Ben, and I'm the creator of Maps Machine. Maps Machine is the idea that remodelers should stop calling themselves general contractor. We want you to be specific and get a specific type of lead. We want to pull you out of what we call the remodeler trap, which is a general contractor that says yes to everything versus a seven-figure remodeler that says yes to the right things. I want to be very specific with you. I built the system for remodelers. I have a wall of case studies for remodelers. If you're a plumber, electrician, and HVAC, and this sounds interesting, by all means, give it a try. I'd love to know if my system works in your niche. But I built it for remodelers. So I just want to make sure I'm very clear with you. And my YouTube comments are not full of people saying it didn't work for me. And then I go check it out, and you're actually a plumber. Whatever it may be. Just want to be very specific. This is built for remodeling companies that want more remodeling deals. Anyways, that's it. Long ago, Ben was just a young college student that was actually looking to go to college to become a doctor. My dad's in the doctor field, and I thought that was the right thing to do. Well, medical classes killed me. I suffered terribly. Chemistry was awesome in practice, terrible in learning. So what I ended up focusing on was pretty much anything else. I took a couple psychology classes, I was dabbling around, and then randomly I took a class on marketing. Now, I'm going to skip forward a little bit because that marketing class actually ended up turning into a couple of smaller businesses I started, my first couple of clients for my own company, doing what many of you would recognize as like solo contracting. Frankly, I was suffering from what I now call the remodeler trap, but just the marketing version. But during that time, all I really focused on was making enough to survive. I wasn't trying to like grow a big business, but more importantly, I was trying to grow my skills. Fast forward 7, 8 years, I had grown my skills to the point where I had several $1 million of ad spend under my belt. I had grown probably 30 to 40 different companies as their fractional chief marketing officer. And then after all that and said and done, there was one particular company I started working for. Their name was Vineyard Growth. Vineyard Growth was an amazing company to me. I love Chris and Tyler, the founders, but they were talking to me because they wanted to try growing their company. And their company's whole ideology was to help local businesses grow with local SEO packages. The classic $1,000 to $2,000 a month, sometimes up to $5,000 a month, depending on the package. And they were bringing me on to basically help them figure out how to get leads for the agency, not for their clients. When it came to their clients, they were great. But for the agency, they were trying to figure out how to get more clients. So I helped them run their ads. I helped them build their business. And after a pretty long stint, as fractional CMOs do, I walked away. It was a great time, totally mutual, like really good team there. But really, I just wanted to start my own company because there was something I saw that was really unique. When I was working at Vineyard Growth, they worked with every different type of business under the sun, whether it was a remodeling company, a construction company, a dog groomer, dentists, psychologists, therapists, like every single ist, every single contractor, every single type of local business under the sun, they would just say yes to. And what I saw is that there were some different industries where their strategy worked really well, and some industries where it was negotiably not great. And that was just part of their business. It was a cost of business. Sometimes you get the good ones, sometimes you get the bad ones. Well, I looked at a particular industry that was not doing so good, the remodeler. And I looked at all their businesses and I saw that almost all of them were trying to rank as a general contractor. And that's where the idea struck me. If someone wanted to hire someone to come remodel their entire bathroom, why would they search for a general contractor? Like, think about it. If you're sitting in your room, sitting down, maybe you're sitting on the toilet scrolling social media for pity's sake, and you're like, hey, you see a really pretty bathroom on Pinterest, or you see a really nice living room or something, right? And the idea sparks to your mind that you want to remodel your home. Why would you search for the general contractor? Why would you do that? And that question is what spawned this entire operation and why I wanted to go focus and start building what now is Maps Machine. When I first started Maps Machine, it was just me and an idea. This idea that a massive market of construction people were being underserved by companies that were just using templated copy and paste SEO strategies to help them grow their company. They weren't asking the larger strategic questions like, why on earth would my wife choose a general contractor to remodel a bathroom if my wife could hire a bathroom remodeler to remodel her bathroom? Well, lo and behold, about 2.5 years ago, Google made a pretty big change. And what that change was is they started adding a lot more categories. There used to only be one, general contractor. But now Google has given us a lot more, like bathroom, kitchen, full home, basement, home builder, deck builder, cabinet maker, all these different types of remodeling. But there's still so many people trying to be general. And when I talked to potential clients and when I was starting this company, I started to talk about this. I started to call people, and I'm sure a lot of you are laughing when I say that, like, calling people, because you guys probably get 50 cold calls a day. But I would call these people and say, "Hey, you're a general contractor. I want to test the theory on you to see if it actually works." And this was like the very beginning of the company. And I got a couple people that said yes because I was some goofball from Utah. I wasn't like the normal people that were cold calling them. I was just offering some free work in exchange for a case study. I wanted to prove that it worked so that my ideology could actually be proven. So I did. And I, had 5 or 6 people that let me work on their account. I helped them go from a general contractor, and then we worked together on like what would be their specialty. And some of them recategorized as kitchen remodelers. Some of them chose bathroom. One of them chose basements. One of them in particular chose to just stay as a remodeler instead of a general contractor. And after working on these accounts, something magical started to happen. Their lead flow went down, and I was initially really panicked. But then we dug into the numbers a little bit, and there's a specific type of lead that went up. Guess what it was? The thing that we recategorized them for. So instead of being a general contractor that has to drive 45 minutes to go fix somebody's sink for $200, well, those leads just don't come in anymore. And now they were only getting a couple calls a month, but those calls were for humongous jobs. Like for a kitchen remodeler out in California, we helped them I at the time helped them recategorize from a general contractor to a kitchen remodeler. And about a month later, he got a $210,000 kitchen remodeling job. Did he get 16 other tiny jobs on the way? No, but he got the big one he was looking for. After doing this a couple of times and having a number of people say yes to me over the phone, I figured that I was onto something. So I went ahead and branded the company as Maps Machine, which, well, the ideology is to turn your Google Maps listing into a proper machine that spits out leads on autopilot, which is what every business owner wants. And it started to work. And I started getting so many people by calling them to say yes that it wasn't good enough for me just to sit behind my computer anymore with a phone and run and gun this. So we branded the company. I went ahead and hired a couple people. I hired someone to help me call. I hired a couple people on my team to help me actually build out the system. And that's what actually spawned the true full-fleshed idea now, which is what you're perceiving as Maps Machine, or rather our Maps Machine remodeler system. And this is the system I wanted to walk you through really briefly that has completely changed the way that most of our clients get their leads. Instead of focusing on the tiny crap that keeps the lights on, they don't have to worry about the lights because they have multiple huge jobs that come in consistently. As I was building out this program, I was confused as to why this doesn't exist before. So I started calling around to a bunch of my buddies that are also doing local marketing, people like SEO guys and ads people that are doing like pay per appointment strategies. And I started calling people that help people run Google ads. And then I called my buddies that are doing Go High Level. I'm sure some of you have heard of that. And when I looked at all these different mechanisms, what I learned is that a lot of these local remodeling companies had confusing ways to get leads. I mean, look at it like this. A plumber is not going to make the same amount of revenue as a remodeler on a per job basis. So when my wife needs someone like a plumber to come and fix some of our simple plumbing issues in our home, I don't have to develop this massive amount of trust to determine what plumber to call. I just have to call a plumber. Whereas when I'm trying to pick someone to remodel my entire kitchen, a place that we live in every single day, I learned that the Google business profile and hiring someone to optimize it isn't enough. They go to Google and they learn about you there, but they don't decide to work with you there. And when I made that realization and I was talking to all these people I've worked with in the past, I realized that they're all working on these little siloed pieces: the website, the Google business profile, ads, tracking. And when you build them all individually, they don't connect well to actually help the customer feel like they can trust you. So this system, it exists, but only you, the founder, it's on you to go and piece it together and hire 24 different marketing people to piece all these different pieces together. That's where this idea came from. So I took all these individual pieces, the Google business profile, ads, the site, reviews, all these fantastic reporting strategies, and combined them into one system. And when you do this system in order, and the reason it works is we need to get people's attention before we sell them. Once we sell them, we need to sell them at the right place. That way we can price it not based on like the price and we have to negotiate on price for hours. We can price it according to value and charge them more. Then we can ask for a review in a way that makes them want to say yes instead of begging them for a review. And once you get more reviews, guess what that does? It feeds back into the engine. So this system, when built in one cohesive structure, completely modifies how we do business. The second thing I noticed is that most of the companies in this industry seem to outsource their work. And I'm sure you've noticed this by the people that cold call you. A lot of the outsourcing is done in order to save the agency money, not to produce good results for the company they're working for, the client. So they outsource work to foreign countries, usually third world or second world countries like India, Philippines, stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with those countries. I don't want to seem too aggressive there. But what I want to state is that that's just one more disconnect between the person who's going to buy a remodel and the strategy that's going to get them there. So that's why this puzzle gets so mixed up, is that we have a team that ends up building each individual piece of this and it gets super confusing, and a customer who needs trust. So confusion does not bring trust, which is why this strategy does not exist until this point. And more importantly, that's why I decided to build my company locally here in Utah. I work with local talent, I train them in person on my system, and that way we have complete control and can deliver our service a lot faster. So that's kind of where we are now, is we have a team that allows us to keep up with work, and now we've really grown this Maps Machine program so that I can share it with you today and give you a lot of confidence that it actually works. And I'll talk through a couple of case studies as well. So without further ado, I want to present to you the Maps Machine system. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the names and don't forget it. The Maps Machine. Now, the reason we call it Maps Machine is frankly because all of this starts with the very first place where customers find you, the Google Business Profile. And we're going to name it, we call that the GBP for short. You'll also hear people call this like the Google Maps listing, the Google Business Profile, Google My Business. It's changed names over the years, but this is the current name of it, especially in the age of AI. This is what they're going with. Now, inside the Google Business Profile, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. You can change the name of your business, you can change the address. Really, when it comes down to is the Google Business Profile is there to play the foundation of your local reputation. So if you have a really bad local reputation, you're probably not going to get leads from Google. If you have a good local reputation, you're probably going to get leads from Google. And the things that make that reputation good are three things. First, relevance. This is the most important one, uncontested, no matter how many people cold call you. This is what we've tested over and over again. If you call yourself a general contractor on Google, why would Google give people that are searching for bathroom remodels your business profile? Why would Google give people the general contractor when Google could give people exactly what they're searching for? The bathroom remodeler, the kitchen remodeler, the specialist. If we don't have the specialist, then Google will default and give some of that, more odd work to the general contractor, which is why if you're ranked as a general contractor right now, your lead flow is probably really weird. You're getting leads that used to be good, but now they're just suddenly bad. And it happened a couple of years ago. Maybe you blame politics, maybe you blame some disease that happened, right? Whatever it may be. The real reason is that Google Business Profiles, because of AI, have shifted towards relevance. The second thing on this list is authority. Authority is the fancy marketing way of saying reviews. At the end of the day, if you are ranked number one, let's say I could wave my magic little SEO wand and bippity boppity rank you at the very top of Google as if you are the biggest business in your area, but you only had one review, and the guy right below you that's in second place on Google has 5,000. Who do you think my wife, who's searching for a bathroom remodel, would pick? It's not that complicated. Doesn't matter how high ranked you are, authority plays a massive role in the customer actually selecting to work with you. And this is the harsh truth that SEO agencies are really having a hard time confronting, is SEO people will say, hey, we got you ranked, but the leads aren't coming. And then the client says, well, how do I get more leads? And they're like, cool, go get reviews. Well, it's hard to get reviews when you don't have clients to work with. It's kind of a catch-22. So we'll talk about that in a second over here. But that's the role that authority plays, is that authority is basically how we earn the customer's trust. So once we have relevance and authority, then we have our last one, activity. Activity is Google's way of knowing if your business is like alive. So if you're not posting new pictures, if you're not responding to reviews, there's a whole list of stuff here. In fact, if you click a link in the description of the video, I'll just send you our entire list. That way you can keep it. But this is basically a whole bunch of really easy tasks that most SEO companies charge you between $200 and $1,000 a month to optimize your profile every single month. But that's not optimizing your profile. That's just telling Google you're active. And you can probably do that whole list in under an hour and save several $100s a month, huh? So these are the three things that I discovered when I was talking to all my SEO friends and all the people that they did. And this is what led me to cold call and talk to a couple remodelers and do this for free. So I wanted to see if I could wave my magic marketing wand upon these three things and what would it do. And what I learned specifically for remodelers, I was able to get a lot of eyeballs on the profile. So I'm gonna draw a little eyeball here. Oh, I'm really bad at drawing. Eyeball. Okay, that just looks super creepy. Anyways, an eyeball. The Google Business Profile was increasing the amount of people that see it, but I wasn't getting my client any leads, even though I wasn't charging them any money. It was just a test. So I found out that we were getting lots of eyeballs, and the way that I measured that was something called an impression or website traffic, WT. So I figured out that I was getting in front of people, but they weren't choosing to work with me yet. So I went where the next logical choice would be, the website. So I'm getting lots of eyeballs, but I'm not getting lots of people to buy from me. So I went and looked at these remodelers' websites. Now, when I looked at the website, I learned something pretty important. I did all this magic work on their Google business profile, and I helped them re-rank from a general contractor and, let's say, a kitchen remodeler. So I helped them appear to be a high-quality specialist kitchen remodeler. And I even helped them get some reviews from past kitchen remodeler clients that the top couple reviews on their profile were about kitchen remodeling. I did everything I could on the Google business profile to be a kitchen remodeler. Well, consider for a second how expensive kitchen remodelers are. We're talking about sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not anywhere between 30 and 100 is like an average kitchen job. That's a ton of freaking money. And insurance ain't paying for it. This is out of pocket, high key investment. So why would somebody choose to work with you based off of just a first impression, even if it was a dang good one? They don't. They go to your website. See, we were getting the eyeballs. We were making a good first impression, but they didn't trust us with their 5-figure investment yet. So we needed to build a website that matched. And this is the big disconnect. When you hire the SEO guy to fix this, but then they build a website that doesn't match that, you're telling the customer that you're actually not a specialist and you are just a generalist anyway. So what I did is I actually built a completely new website that matched the Google business profile. So this is categorical is the first thing. And then the second thing is conversion, which is the marketer's way of saying they actually called you or actually reached out to you. So we want to make a website that doesn't say we also do kitchens, we also do baths, we also do this. We want to build a whole site that is pretty much a new business that matches your categories. So if we turned you from a general contractor to a kitchen remodeler over here, your website now says the best kitchen remodeler in this area, right? We're not talking about the 40 other services you could do. We are being extremely specific because we care about relevance, authority, and activity. I want to show relevance that I'm a specialist. I want to show authority that I'm the best. And I want to show activity by updating my site. Now, when I did this, this is what we found. This was really exciting. All this little website traffic right here, this little bubble, the people that saw the Google business profile and then moved over to the website, what we found is that we got our first couple of leads. And this was a big discovery for us. They weren't calling us by clicking the call button on the Google business profile. They were going to the Google business profile because that's where they discovered us. And then they went to the website to kind of do their due diligence. Just like how if you were to consider working with Maps Machine, you go to my website, check out my case study, you see if I'm actually good at what I do. People are doing the same thing to you. But the only problem is, let's say you were to consider working with Maps Machine, and then you go to my website and it's like the best cheeseburger in town. It's like completely irrelevant. Would that make you want to work with the marketer? No, it wouldn't, because it's not relevant at all. So instead, I made a website that matches exactly what I do, which is remodeler growth strategies. And that's what you need to do, is we need to have a website that matches your primary category. And again, this is all based off the fact that we're not being some dumb general primary category. We're actually going to be a specific category, something like kitchen remodeling, bathroom remodeling, deck building, etc. Don't be general. Now, once we figured this out, we found out that we would get like maybe one decent call. I'll mark this like up here in the results. The GBP, we'd get the occasional call. So I'll mark like one call a month. And that call, the quality was kind of meh because they haven't done their research on us yet. So if we tried to like set them an appointment, they'd have tons of like, questions. They'd be like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to work with you yet. And like our sales team, the sales team of my client was always like, oh, you should meet with us anyway, whatever it may be. These leads were always a little bit sketchy. Then we had the leads that came from the website. Let's say from the website, we got 2 more leads. Now these leads were a completely different story. They would submit like a form on the website, and then our team, the client's team would then reach out to that person and say, hey, we saw that you submitted your form, and more importantly, they made this call like 20 minutes after the lead form came in. Don't wait 2 days, please. If you do, just forget that the lead even exists. Those 2 leads were amazing. They checked out our site, they've been to our profile, they've chosen to basically work with us, and now it's just about the numbers. So that's what we gave them, numbers. Well, that sounds beautiful and dandy, right? You're getting 1 to 2 qualified leads a month, which is what most remodelers really care about. And I think that's why there's a big disconnect between the marketer and the remodeler, is that most of the marketers that cold call remodelers, even when I first started out, I would say, do you want 50 new leads this month? It's like 50 new leads in the remodeler category is absolutely insanity. Like that's how many you're going to get in a year, unless you're dealing with really crappy quality. Whereas if I can get you 1, maybe 2 qualified deals a month, it's pretty much a 7-figure company. Especially, depending on the niche. If you're a bathroom remodel, you need like 5 or 6, kitchens 1 to 2, you know what I mean. So once we have the Google business profile that's producing a decent call, and the website that's hammering down and getting a couple more calls, then you have a really optimized local presence. But in order to create a maps machine, we need to get reviews, right? Like reviews are a big thing. And frankly, 1 to 2 reviews a month ain't gonna cut it. I'm sorry. So remember those crappy jobs I was talking about? The ones that we want to get rid of because they don't make you tons of money? Well, now that you have a couple of good jobs coming in every single month, we need to get some of those jobs back. And I'll tell you why in a second. The next step in this process is what's called LSA ads. LSA ads, or local service ads, are basically the only format of advertising in the entire country right now that allows you to only pay Google when you get a lead, or rather a call. So let's say someone searches on Google and right at the top it shows a bunch of Google business profiles and the word sponsored right next to it. Those are Google business profiles. And if your Google business profile sucks, do you think LSA ads are going to work? No. So again, I like to use the example that you can cover a turd in some gold, but still a turd. So we want to fix this and this before we look at this. Now, the lead quality from LSA ads are not going to be great because again, they're clicking on the first thing they do on the page. They haven't done that research. So these are generally going to be smaller jobs. Like instead of a full kitchen remodel, they're going to ask you about cabinets, or instead of a full kitchen remodel, they're going to look at a tile or a backsplash. Now, initially, before you have LSA ads on, I want you to focus on getting some of these high ticket jobs first because that plays the foundation of your revenue. These are humongous jobs that we obviously need to prioritize. But once we get these jobs going, in order to stay at the top, in order to continue building a local reputation, we need to increase the amount of jobs we're doing. That way we can ask more people for reviews. And no, do not ask mom and dad for reviews. Google is very clear. And we'll talk about this in a second. But if you break Google's rules on reviews, just kiss your leads goodbye. Come on, don't do that type of business. Be better. So LSA ads are amazing because we get a lot of those lower quality jobs and we can have one of our employees be solely dedicated to knocking out these easy jobs and getting reviews. So these are your easy jobs. Then once you have these easy jobs and you close a couple of these are like your kitchen repair, your little tiny things that happen in somebody's home. The important piece is the review system. Now, you've probably been thinking about reviews a whole bunch and you're probably tired of hearing about them, but I want to be very specific on the 3 things that we focus on from reviews. First is what we call manual. Manual review generation is you asking someone for a review as the founder. Look, this is your company. And even if you were to work with me as Maps Machine and install our system, I always tell all of our clients that if they're not willing to get reviews, it's a no-go. Like just completely skip working with us. Getting reviews is something the founder should always be worried about, just like how I want to get reviews for my company. It allows people online to digitally pass their first round of judgment on you. Like I said over here, relevance, authority, right? So the review system, we want to install a couple of simple scripts in the company that allow us to reach out to our customers without being rude. And those simple scripts we can include in the description as well. Now, the second thing right here, in addition to manual, then you have automated. This is what you get 900 cold calls about every single month from some guy reselling this software named Go High Level. I'm going to spoil all their secrets. Go High Level is a software that usually charges between 50 and 100 bucks. And it's a massive, convoluted, confusing software that pretty much does everything. And agencies will rebuild High Level and turn it into a review generation tool where it automatically texts your customers or texts your leads back on time. All super powerful, but not the only way to get reviews. And if you're relying on automation, you're going to be just like everybody else. So we are huge fans of automation. I'm a huge fan of automation, but only if you're doing the manual stuff first. I do this in order. Now, the last thing, team systems. This is the secret that allows the Maps Machine to really unlock. If someone's only doing automated and the founder's occasionally texting back customers, imagine how powerful it is when you have team members doing these easier jobs, asking for reviews for you, and they're incentivized to do it. So that's what we recommend in the last piece of the puzzle, is asking your team to help with reviews in a way that is mutually beneficial because you're getting work. Remember, you're getting work from the Google Business Profile, you're getting work from the site. So it makes sense to compensate your team for this. So once we get all these 3 things installed, you are now ready to build that Maps Machine. And this is now working because guess what? That review system then feeds right back into your authority. And now you have a Maps Machine. Now, I want to give you one small hack right here. I'm not a huge fan of like little marketing tactics, little gadgets and gizmos, but this is one that has been timeless and I've used for the past decade across all of the companies I've ever worked in or worked on. Google is pretty specific about what qualifies as a review. They say that there must be a value-added transaction, or rather an exchange of value. Just like how you've watched this YouTube video, I have hopefully given you value. And let's say I was on a call with you, you, I haven't necessarily you've been paid anything, you haven't bought any services from me, but again, I provided value. So it wouldn't be so strange of me to say, hey, based on this YouTube video and the couple of things we talked about on this call, would you mind taking a quick moment to review my business and tell me what you think so far? This is a huge deal for remodelers because it takes a long time for remodelers to go from closed deal to review, usually several weeks, if not months, depending on the size of the job. So what we encourage all of our clients to do is ask for reviews whenever you add value. So don't just ask reviews when you're done with the job. Ask reviews right when you're done with the sale, after you've done the full estimate process. Ask for a review once you've done the blueprinting and kind of showed them the floor plan and all the plans and actual delivery year. Ask for a review when you're halfway through and the quality of the work and the quality of the team. And of course, when you're done. And the super cool hack, ask for the review before they've worked with you, but after receiving value. So my company does a lot of free work for people just to get our name out there and be kind. And again, if remodelers die, if the industry dies, so do we. So we do some free work. And even after doing free work for people, we will very commonly say, hey, do you mind giving us a review based on the quality of this free work? I know it was free, but do you feel like it could have been worth something? And 10 times out of 10, we get that review because they received free value. So this is how a match machine operates. We start with the Google Business Profile to build relevance, authority, and activity. Once we have that activity, we have a site over here that converts that activity into real customers. Once we have those two things in order, we're going to get more eyeballs to look at them by using LSA ads. And once LSA ads are in place, we're going to install a review system so that we can keep getting more authority. And now you see the full Maps machine. Does that make sense? So after hearing this entire massive shtick, you're probably curious as to who this works for. Like what this is actually built to do. And I want to be very specific here because now that you've seen the system and how powerful it can be, I get a lot of people that frankly it was not built for that contact me and say, hey, can you work? So I'm gonna be very specific. We built this system for remodeling companies and it only works for remodeling companies. And I want to be very clear on that because a lot of people are like, well, this system has a lot of good stuff in it. I'm sure it could work for plumbing or HVAC or roofing. It could. It could. I just do not have a wall of case studies to show you. Proves that to be true. If you want to talk to me about remodelers and how it works, I can show you a couple of case studies that are just wall to wall right here of people that have chosen to get the system built, whether they do it themselves or they hire our team to do it. And it worked. And they went from getting crappy jobs that don't move the needle to getting large jobs, like Greg, who went from getting no calls and a bunch of spam calls to closing a $210,000 kitchen remodel 45 days after working with us. Or Bill from Acasa Homes. Their company, holy cow. We came in, we restructured their entire business behind remodeling, and now they get 2 qualified leads every single week and have closed over $500,000 in deals from our work. There are a lot more of those. Again, the wall of case studies. So who this is for, I can prove to you that it's for remodelers. If you want to try it yourself on your own business and you're not a remodeler, all power to you. Just don't trust me. That's all on you. So that's what we offer people is we either tell you how to do this and you can watch all of our YouTube content and learn how to do this yourself, or you can hire our team to come in and do it completely done for you in 30 days. And if it doesn't work, we give all your money back. So that's how our Maps Machine system works. And again, for remodelers. So if you've watched this entire video and the thought crosses your mind that maybe it's not the right time to bring in the experts and you're more interested in really building the site yourself, awesome. That was me when I first got into marketing. I can't wait to welcome you into the fold. Go ahead and click the subscribe button and watch the rest of our content. We deliver videos every week at a minimum to make sure that you always know exactly how to install a system of this quality. And we hold nothing back. It's not like I'm going to give you the little bit so you have to come work with us to get it done. We give away everything. Now, if you want us to just build the entire system for you and you're tired of getting cold called by people that don't know what they're doing, and more importantly, you're tired of working with marketing companies that promise big results but can't back it up, I'd love for you to book a call with us. You can do so at the description below. And what that call will be is we'll just look at the Maps Machine and what you currently have built, and we'll just diagnose it and tell you what you've got and what you don't. If you want us to build it for you, we'll make you an offer. If you don't want us to build it for you, totally fine. We hope that you'll have left the call with value, enough value that maybe we'll ask you for a review. If that makes sense, go ahead and click below and book that call.